shake, shake, shake your booty. Shake, 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 shake your booty. Shake, shake your... Hi, Zeba. Ready?
Hopefully you guys
hi.
are having a great week. I can't believe it's Sunday already. I can't believe the weekend's over and we have to go back to work tomorrow.
And our condo.
Yeah.
We're
Right
not
here.
going. We're not going that
Not really going physically.
far.
But we're still working.
I'm gonna be over there.
So weird.
Wow. Hi, everybody.
Hello. Happy Sunday, everybody. I'm Jean-Luc.
I'm Nick.
And welcome to our Sunday night chat.
We have a special guest tonight, Tia, and we'll get to her shortly. She's one of our bloggers on Jean-Luc-and-Nick.com, talks about her mental health. So we're going to talk about that with her, talk
And
about
her wellness journey.
and her wellness journey, and just, get to know her a bit more.
Introduce you guys to this lovely, lovely person that we got to meet not that long ago
Where are
ourselves.
our waters?
I have mine here. Yours is underneath the desk.
Oh, okay. I found it. So
I
the water word
I
of
don't know where it was. He just never listens.
the water
to me,
word of the
people.
evening is health. That's the water word of the evening is health.
Mental health, healthy living, healthy choices, being healthy. I just said it 4 times, people.
Drink your water.
Drink your water, take your meds.
meds.
Oh, I love that. That was Tia's water
Water
bottle
bottle.
says, drink your water, take your meds. That's a great way to remember to take your meds.
Yeah, because
Like,
we
that's
forget
offensive.
often.
Yeah, we often forget that. Yeah.
So this week was quite a crazy week for us. You want to
Yeah.
talk about your hand?
Yes. So Jean-Luc had an injury and had to go to the ER on Wednesday night.
Thursday.
No, it was Wednesday. I
Oh, it
took
was?
Yeah. Yes, it was.
Oh, yes,
Wednesday.
you took Thursday off.
Yes.
Yes. That's the right
So
order.
on Wednesday afternoon, after all my work meetings, I'm like, ooh, I'm going to be creative in the kitchen. I'm going to learn how to make, because I'm trying to make tofu now. I'm trying to introduce tofu to our meal, because now we've been following the P3 meal plan. And I'm like, you know what? I need to try some new stuff. We've always said, oh, we'll never eat tofu. But I'm like, I'm going to try it. We tried it the one day in the air fryer, loved it. So this time I'm like, Nick's like, we haven't made butter chicken in a long time. So I'm like, I'm going to make butter chickenless chicken.
Basically.
So basically butter chicken without the chicken, but I was going to add tofu to. I was adding tofu and cauliflower. So I had my head of cauliflower. I had just bought these new knives they were PC brand, sorry, but they're really they're good knives. They're sharp. And I'm taking the heart out, like cutting off the leaves. And I'm talking to Nick, and all of a sudden the knife slips and then goes right through my hand, like right across my hand. And I'm bleeding everywhere. And I run to the bathroom, run it underwater. And I'm like, Nick, I think we need to go to the emergency. So Nick comes trekking behind me. He's like, let me see. And I open up my hand. He's like, go now, where, how? And he's like, I need to text my boss. I need to do this. Yes. I grab paper towel. I put it in my hand. We get to the emergency. He drops me off.
And I'm like, I'm gonna go park, right? Yeah. So I drive to the left side of the hospital, which is closer to where we live. So I thought, closer to emergency. There's no spots. I'm like, I'm not gonna drive to the other end of the hospital, park there, pay $30 when I can just drive home, which is a 5-minute walk from the hospital, and pay nothing. So I really drove back home, parked the car. Jogged back to him because I couldn't walk, because I wanted to get back as quickly as I could.
And he calls me. He's like, I'm parking at home because there's no room. I'm like, that's fine. I'm okay. I'm waiting. I was told it was going to take 4 hours to get to see somebody. So I'm like, okay, fine. Here we go. So we're waiting. And now triage, we're waiting for triage. And as we're waiting for triage, the nurse calls my name. Yes. And we get up and she's looking at us, and we both have our masks on, and she's like, do I know you? And I'm like, well, my name's Jean-Luc and this is Nick. She goes, oh my God, from WW. She recognized us. It was so funny. Like, it was so funny. She's like, oh my goodness. And so we talked to her for a little bit. She was super sweet. She's like, sorry, you have to wait. I'm like, we don't get an in. Like, we don't get a cut season. Like, come on. I'm joking. I did not ask that. I swear I did not. But I thought of it. I'm not going to lie. I was like, oh, maybe she could get me in. Not that my hand was more important than anybody else.
And he also got the hot doctor.
And I did get the very attractive doctor. I'm not going to lie. He was very attractive. He was super nice. But it was funny because I sat in the second waiting room forever and there was no seats available. And I was like, it's my hand. I can stand up. I was not, I had got the bleeding under control. So I just stood up. and let other people sit who were in a lot more pain than I was in a sense. But me and myself and this couple, Nick left because he had to teach step, and myself and this couple, we started chit-chatting. They were super nice. He was he was a retired firefighter. She had plantar fasciitis, and we were just talking back and forth. And they had been there before me and had still been waiting. And all these other people were going in. And she's like, I just want to see someone about my foot. And I'm like, I just want to know if I need stitches. That's all I want to know. So we finally get in. And as the doctor comes out, well, prior to Nick leaving, he'd seen the doctor. And Nick goes, wow, he's a very handsome doctor. And
I always saw from the back end. I didn't see the front.
He was a very handsome doctor.
I saw from the behind.
Well, he comes out and he calls my name and he says it in French on top of that. He doesn't even say Jean-Luc. He says Jean-Luc. And I was like, oh, he goes, and then starts talking to me in French going, allô, comment ça va? Je m'appelle Jean-Pierre. And I was like, wow, okay.
They're like name twins too.
And like his name's Jean-Pierre and I'm Jean-Luc. And as we start walking, he goes, do you mind if we do this in English though? Because my medical French is probably not as good as my medical English. And I was like, sure, no problem. And so he sat on the bed. I showed him my hand and he's like,
so you can show them now.
Yeah, I can show you what it looks like. It's not that it was worse than it is now. It's been covered.
Show them right here.
And I can show you guys here. It bled a lot, but I got it under control. And he's like, I'll tell you this, I can give you stitches, but if I give you stitches, the needle's going to hurt more than anything else. And you'll be in pain from the needle. So I'm like, no stitches. Yay. So he wrapped it up and he said, just keep it wrapped up for 24 hours and then keep an eye on it. So I'm still cooking.
I think I'm still eating.
He's still eating. He hasn't
I haven't starved.
Let's just say the the butter tofu roasted cauliflower got made on Thursday and it was
amazing.
Phenomenal.
The lasagna last night was amazing.
Even to the point where I might not make it with chicken again because it was so good with the roasted cauliflower. And I served it on a bed of pot barley.
Yeah, pot barley,
which was delish, absolutely delish. So that was my story of the week. Yay!
Yay!
Hold on. Now I can shut up.
And then we also had P3 weight loss experience all week. We did week 1 this week. Next week 2 starts, and the registration for fall actually went live. The website hasn't been updated yet. That'll be updated next week. We're kind of letting it go slow and better, but once we have more information out, you guys will get emails and any information about
email. So if you want to reach out to us already, please feel free to reach out for us for P3 information.
Yeah. And tonight, our special guest.
We have Tia.
We have Tia here with us.
Lovely Tia.
Hello.
Hi.
So we got to meet you last year in person for the first time last summer. So
at the body picnic.
At the Body Picnic. Actually,
yes, that's right.
When was that? September? October? I can't remember anymore. But
it was September.
So
Jean-Luc, we've lost your mic.
Lost me. Okay, thank you.
I'll keep talking then, and we're about to do this here too. So yes, we met you last year at the Body Picnic, and you also do step with us.
I do.
And you're also a writer on our blog.
I am.
And you're also part of P3, so it's kind of like a fourfold thing tonight.
I'm all in.
So I think the first thing I want to ask you is introduce yourself. Let us know a bit about yourself, where you're from, your background a little bit, and go ahead.
Let's get to know Tia.
Sure. So I'm 52.
What?
I know. I'm 52.
I would never guess.
Scream it from the rooftops. You look phenomenal. I would never have thought you were 52.
I grew up in Markham and lived there pretty much my entire life. A little detour to Peterborough to go to university. And then in 1995, I moved to Newfoundland. At the time, I was living with my boyfriend and he got a job there. So I followed him out there, lived there for 7 years, came back in 2002. I've been in Aurora, Newmarket area since then. And I have a teenage son who lives with me.
Teenage son, that's crazy. I know.
He's gonna be 16 next July, so I'm freaking out.
So, well, yeah, because he's gonna be able to start getting his driver's license.
Yes.
That whole new chapter in life is beginning, which is almost like the mid chapter where they're no longer a child because now you have to trust them with a vehicle. You're like, can they do it? Can they do it?
So that's a whole other stress that I'll deal with when the time comes.
Exactly.
Try not to worry too much about it now.
Yeah. And honestly, you know what? I'm sure you have a good relationship and you're able to teach him your driving skills.
Hopefully. We do have a good relationship. He's a good kid.
That's awesome.
That's
I'm
awesome.
lucky. I'm very lucky.
Probably because he has a good mom too.
Aw, thanks.
You're very welcome.
So, and I'll just say my most recent wellness journey, I, like many of you, I've been on multiple weight loss. I've done all kinds of different things. I've done Weight Watchers numerous times, but my most current wellness journey started about 18 months ago. And it started as a weight loss journey, but it's really morphed into something completely different. And now it's just more about, total wellness. Like you guys say, mind, body, and soul.
Yeah. And I want, what made that switch to you? What happened that made that difference?
You guys.
Oh.
You guys. So what happened for me is I started in November of 2020.
Okay.
I joined Weight Watchers, and like most of my other previous attempts, it was just about, counting my points, trying to lose weight, weighing myself every week on the numbered scale, all the ups and downs of that. And, I lost about 10, 12 pounds, and then Christmas rolled in and a lot of my old habits came back, and I found myself in January kind of having to restart. And I just said to myself, like, this is ridiculous. Like, you have to figure this out. So I got on Connect and I actually found Bill first and started reading his posts, which were great. He's really no nonsense. And I'm like, this is what I need. I need no nonsense. And then my sister, my big sister, who's actually in the room tonight watching.
Hi, big sister.
Support. Her name's Maria.
Hi, Maria.
And I don't want to hear any Tia Maria jokes because we've heard them all. I
didn't even think about that.
I like Tia Maria actually. Now I have a craving.
So anyways, she was the one that said, do you follow the WW Gays? And I'm like, the WW Gays, who are they? And they're like, that's Jean-Luc and Nick. They're on Connect all the time. They post all the time. You should check out their posts. So I'm like, okay. So I started following you guys, and yeah, things just changed. And then when I found your Sunday night chats and all your, you're on social media, and I just started kind of following everything you do. And it was just like, I found this amazing community that I finally felt like I fit into. And, you guys talk a lot about mindset and, how you talk to yourself. And so all of that just kind of, I just took all of that in, and then just my vision just started switching. And I was like, you know what? It's not about the number. I need to lose weight for health because I was pre-diabetic when I joined WW. I had a bit of a health scare. But it's just about everything. And, when you started your step classes, I'm like, I need to figure out some more activity. I was just walking. I'm like, this would be a great thing to add to my activity. So like I said, I went all in. And it's really I love journey for the better.
Oh, I love. Yeah, thank you. First of all, thank you
very much for saying that. That you know what? It's so funny because that just when we hear that we've influenced other people to make different choices or see their own,
because we're still learning all the time too.
We're always learning.
We're always learning about,
and we know we're not any means gurus of any, because we're always learning and we're always trying to make best choices for ourselves.
But as we're learning, we're grabbing pieces and things that we're learning from these experiences and then combining it together to create what we have today.
Yes,
and so I think
that's what I love. First of all, you guys, you've been there. You've walked the walk. So just because you talk the talk, that's one thing, but you've walked the walk. So you know what it's like.
We're still walking it.
Yeah, well, we all are. And I think the other thing that really I connected with you guys, and this is one of the biggest things, was all my previous journeys, it was always like a deadline. Like I wanted to lose weight by such and such a time or by such and such an event. And I've completely let that go. I've taken the mindset now. It's like, it takes however long it takes. It's going to be a lifetime probably. And it never ends.
And I think that's it. That's the thing that, and I have a feeling you probably maybe felt the same way, but I used to feel that by the time I get thin, I'll have learned the lessons, and the lessons means I'll be able to eat whatever I want and still maintain my weight loss because I'll have learned the secret sauce, the secret like meeting I'll be in after I'm done. A ring will be given to me and I'll be cured. That's not the case. It doesn't exist. And if you're a person that loves food, that has a hard time controlling yourself with food, this is a lifelong journey. And I think that's why for people like myself and Jean-Luc, that's the type of people we are. We're serial people because we know we love food and we can easily fall off anything quickly. So we have to have all these things to help us reel us in all the time.
And I want to say this is the first time in a long time where I can say I might not be at, like back in the day, I had a specific weight I wanted to be at and I needed to maintain that weight all the time. And I'm finally at a part in my mind is I'm not worried about a weight in my mind anymore. I'm wanting to make sure where I'm trending is more important than where my goal is. Yeah. If I'm trending on a weight loss or I'm losing fat and losing pounds, but I don't need to know how much, but I know that's where I'm trending, then I know I'm heading.
I'm doing
I'm making good choices.
My choices
and not
are
even
good
choices, but I'm making, because again,
healthy
that whole
choices.
debate, but I'm making healthy choices.
Yeah.
Health.
Oh yeah.
Thanks, Tia. We said it twice.
Yeah.
No, I'm like you guys, and I'm like Nick. I know Nick's talked a lot about the number and how it can mess with his head. And I've always been like that. You get on the scale in the morning and it basically dictates your day.
It does.
If you're up, you're going to have a crappy day. And if you're down, you're like, ooh, it's going to be a great day. And
I can eat more.
Yes. Like you, I've switched to Shape-A, and that's been a big helper for me.
Yeah.
To just see a color and not a number.
Even right now, like I'm green. I've been green for 3 days, but I know I was teal before and green. So I'm still maintaining now. I haven't gone back to gray, which means I'm not gaining. So back in the day though, a numbered scale at this week, which is my trend is usually by week 2, 3, I start maintaining, plateauing. So my number scale might have set a point up or a pound up, and that would have devastated me because I've been doing so well and doing such good choices. But because it's saying green and I don't know what the number really is, I'm not stopping what I'm doing. I'm still sticking to what I've been doing because I know I'm doing the right things.
And I don't know the exact calculation, but for those of you who are trying to understand, it's almost like looking this is the range of green. So no matter where you are within this band of numbers, that's what they're saying on the Shape-A that you are maintaining. So your weight will fluctuate, but that's called maintenance. And we've said this for so many years, how much we've talked about how maintaining doesn't mean you weigh the exact same thing every single time. It means within a specific amount of time, you weigh up and down within this range. And that's what I like about the thing.
For me, I'm always happy with green because in the past, any of my weight loss journeys, I've never been able to keep the weight off. You guys know what that's like. Yep. And so for me, when I started this journey, I did have a number in mind, and I'm probably only about halfway to that number at this point. But the fact that I kind of did gain a little bit back in the beginning of the new year, I did have a tough time mentally. But I've still kept off like over 50 pounds, and to keep it off for this long, like I've never, like the last time I was on a weight loss journey, I lost like 50 pounds in 6 months, and then I gained it back within another 6. So it's okay to maintain. It's okay.
And I love what you just said there, because you just said it. I had to take a pause. I couldn't focus, and that happened to us this winter. Like we both gained weight this winter. The whole month of April, I went gray for like 2 months almost on my Shape-A, but I knew I wasn't focusing on my weight loss. Did I throw in the towel? No, I still did the best choices I could most of the time. But sometimes I indulged more. We ate out a lot more. We bought we bought chips, we bought things we never normally buy that time of year, but we did it.
Yeah.
But now we're focusing again. And I don't know the number I'm at. I don't see the scale telling me I'm 195, 196, whatever number it's at, which is higher than I started before. I just see that my scale is saying green or teal, which means it's telling me I'm going in the right direction. I don't care what the number is. I'm still I'm still going the right way.
Well, we're no longer being controlled by, and that's why I don't call it a scale.
Yeah.
And I don't want this to become I know it sounds like we're talking about it a lot, but
because it's something that's affected us, like the three of us.
Definitely helped us. Yeah. I don't care what my number is anymore.
Yeah.
I can finally say that. We have a numbered scale.
We haven't used it since March. Since the beginning of March, we've not used our numbered scale. And it's helped us, because at this point, if I would have been on a normal scale this week and gone up, it probably would have affected me, but I'm not. I'm feeling great right now.
It's so funny because even if you were having a great week and it would have gone up, your mental state automatically goes, oh
Negative.
my God, I did terrible.
Exactly.
Even if you did fantastic all week.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I'll go back to that. A lot of you have been following us for a long time. We had said last year something, oh, the number doesn't affect us anymore. It doesn't. But when I'm depressed,
yes,
and I can't have the control that I normally have, that number destroys me. And that's what I learned this last time. The fact that I did not see the number the entire time, I didn't get so down on myself for being so like, I didn't go eat something and get destroy myself after for eating what I ate. I just said, you know what, it's great, but I'm okay. I know I'm not focusing right now. And that changed everything for me, because back in the day, that whole month of indulging would have been like, oh my God, Nick, people are watching, you're gaining weight, you're fat, you're ugly, you can't fit in your clothes again. That's the speak I would have had, but I didn't. And that's what it's done for me, for someone like myself who really who thought had the number down pat and no longer affecting me, and then it came back again. That's why for me it was really like,
it's such an interesting, it's been very helpful to us. So
I actually want to touch a bit more on you brought up mental health. You said you went through a rough earlier this year. Actually. I think we both kind of simultaneously were going through it at the same time. So I kind of wanted, because I know you do talk about it, can you elaborate on what you can share about your own mental health and what you've gone through for people?
Sure. Should I go back to the beginning? I'll start
at
the beginning.
Yeah.
Wherever
I was born on a farm.
Markham, 1970.
Actually, it wasn't. It was actually in Newfoundland. I was living in Newfoundland at the time, but I just want to say that I've been dealing with this pretty much my whole life. I grew up with a parent who suffered from mental illness. My mom was manic depressive, but myself, I was actually diagnosed in my mid-20s with depression. And so it's been on and off my whole life or half my life. And most of the time, I'm on medication. I'm on medication now. I believe in medication for certain people. It really helps me. Like I know if I miss a dose, I can tell, or if I forget to fill my prescription and I go a couple days without taking my medication, I can tell.
There's a difference.
There's a difference. This year, my depression kind of came from a number of different areas. The holidays. So I love the holidays. The build up to the holidays is amazing, but I always find after the few days after the holidays,
a crash,
like a big letdown. You look forward to all these things, and all of a sudden it's like it's all over, and it's like, oh, well, what do I do now?
I have the same thing with vacations. Same issue with vacations.
Yes. So this year it was there was other factors as well. We had planned a family Christmas, and then the Omicron variant hit. Myself and a lot of other people in my family got sick. We weren't all sick with COVID, but so our family plans got canceled. So we ended up not having a family Christmas.
After all that build up.
And then I was sick for 3 weeks, and it was just, horrible. And then just trying to recover from that.
We know. Horrible.
Horrible. And I had really been looking forward to the Mexico trip, and then we had to postpone that.
Yes.
I specifically was, looking forward to that because I thought that's the perfect thing I'll need to look forward to after the crash after Christmas. I'll have that to look forward to. And then that was no longer there. So it took me probably about till the end of March to just kind of crawl out of that depression, whatever it was. But the thing that's helped me that I think about now, this was probably one of the easier ones to get through, because I keep reminding myself that it's only temporary, and that, and through it, I was gaining a little bit of weight, but I was mostly maintaining. And like Nick said, I wasn't so concerned about that because I knew my mental focus had to be somewhere else at that time. So I wasn't going to worry too much about, was I, eating within my points? Was I eating healthy? Whatever. I was just like, I need to get my mindset straight, and then kind of build my momentum back up. So this year, I know my cycle, I know what happens to me. So I have to give myself grace and say, this happens to me every year. You get through it, you'll get through it. And I got through it. But in the past, it would be, I've been to some pretty dark places. I've had, suicidal thoughts. And yeah, just, it's kind of all rolled together, like the whole like weight and, that it's like a circle, you gain weight, then you get depressed, and then, you
snowballs.
You eat to comfort your depression. And then, it's just kind of like a constant, just bad cycle. And I lived through that for years and years and years and years. And I have to say this year was probably one of the first years where I felt like, I'm depressed, but it's okay. Like I knew there would be light at the end of the tunnel, and there was.
And I like that. I like you sharing that, because it's good to know that, you had that light at the end of the tunnel, because when you don't have the light, sometimes it's tougher to get through stuff. So it's nice.
But having a community is really important. Like being able to log in and watch you guys on Sunday nights, being able to go on Facebook and, even if I'm not feeling like posting, reading other people's posts, it's very inspirational. And I think, again, like one of the biggest factors that's changed for me is community. Like I was always one of those people that like, I can do it myself. I can figure it out myself. And when I would get depressed, I would get very introverted. I wouldn't want to see people. I wouldn't want to go out and do things. And now, I have this, even if it's online, it doesn't matter. Like it's still there, and it still helps a lot to,
that's one of the reasons behind the whole P3 thing. It's we both realize that our success is better with community. So like that's why we share so much in that group now and go live so often, because we're doing this with you guys. Like we're also still struggling with our weight. We still have things to work through. We still have new things to learn, and we're never going to stop learning. We've come to terms with that fact that we're always going to traverse the rest of our lives learning new things about things that we've been eating, new things have come out that we should be eating to help us with our health.
And there's one thing that you said there, Tia, that I want to reiterate again, is like when you go through those moments, everybody, those moments where you are down and you are struggling, it's not like when the end of those moments are going to happen, right? So it's
sometimes it's even a gradual thing. Sometimes
exactly. Sometimes it doesn't start off as like all of a sudden you're good one day, and then the next day you're just down and depressed.
I kept asking him in April, I'm like, am I better? Like, I kept asking, do I look better? Do I look better? Because I feel like I'm slowly getting out of the funk, but do I look like I'm out of the funk a bit?
And it's a hard question to answer, because I'm like, from what I'm seeing, yes. But I felt in here that I wasn't 100% yet. But I was like, do I look like I'm less? Because when I'm really down, I can't. My face is very hard to change it. Well, especially in front of him, because he knows me, so I can't. I don't have to. I had to say I don't have to put on a face when I'm with him. I'm not gonna lie. We had an argument on Tuesday. Oh yeah. And when Nick and Jean-Luc have an argument, Nick eventually steals the bedroom and goes to sleep. Well, Jean-Luc pulled a fast one on him this week, and I stole the bedroom first because I knew if he came in, he'd have to talk to me. I tricked him. But I mean, it's those little things too, is knowing what works for you and trying when you're in those moments of in those self-doubt moments, in those moments of not knowing, finding those little tricks that get you out. And Tia, you said one of them already. You said, knowing that this is just a moment. This is not the entire year. This is just happening to me right now. Yeah. And I can get through this because I've already gotten through other things before.
It's taken me a long time to get to this spot. And what I want to say is that, if you're struggling and you've been struggling for a long time, reach out to somebody. If you don't have the community, reach out to somebody. And that's something that I always, I was one of those people that were like, what's wrong with me? Like, I'm so weak. Like, why do I need, I'm out of I have two sisters. I have my older sisters here, and I have a younger sister, and I'm the only one who suffers from this. And I would think, like, what's wrong with me? Like, why is it, why do I feel this way?
Are you the middle sister, you're saying?
Pardon me?
Are you the middle sister?
Yeah, I'm the middle. But it was just like, it was kind of like the old, like, why can't I be stronger like them? Like, why have I allowed this to happen to me? as if I've done something wrong. And it's
but I think that is being strong. I think, like, you know what, as much as I think I'm a strong person, I'm stronger when I'm with him. On my own, I'm not as strong, but if we're together, we're stronger. And I think that's the thing. A lot of people think it's the opposite, being alone is stronger. But when you actually are vulnerable enough and are strong enough to say, I need the help, is actually a stronger thing, because that's being even more honest and true to yourself. So I think everyone out there does actually need help in something.
But that's the thing.
As humans, we're shown that that's weakness. So we
assume that asking for help is a sign of weakness.
But that's what society has programmed us to believe that.
Exactly. But we are programmed for so
but
many
look,
things.
even TV shows. You watch TV shows. You watch watch Friends or anybody talks about going to a psychiatrist. It's all a joke. It's all, oh my God, I can't. You're crazy. Yeah. And that's what we've been ingrained into our minds from watching these shows growing up. So growing up, we all think if you need to go get a psychiatrist, you're crazy. But that's not the case. Sometimes you just need to talk to someone about something because you're going through something and you have no one else to talk to.
Yes.
And so having that person to talk to gives you that way to.
Yes. If you don't have community, you need to do something like reach out to your doctor, and they can help you find somebody. I spent many hours on a therapist's couch or chair. I can't say enough good things about it. I would recommend it to anybody who's struggling. It's helped me immensely. In my current journey that I'm on, I think I talked to my therapist maybe just before I started this current wellness journey. And I've gone about 18 months and I've been doing great, and I haven't felt the need. But recently something's come up that has made me, it's a little stressful, personal issues that I'm dealing with. And I noticed that I started eating a lot. And I'm like, okay, something's wrong here. Like I need to, and I knew I needed to deal with it. So I called up my therapist and booked an appointment, and, I'm going to be back talking to her again, probably on a weekly basis, till I work through this problem and I don't allow it to turn into something more, to fester, and then, start eating my feelings and eating my emotions. Like, you can't fix your body, or you can't mend your body. I don't want to say fix. You can't mend your body until you mend anything that's going on up here.
Yep.
They're connected together.
We're big proponents for 10 years ago. I'm pretty sure you're the same way, Tia. Someone told you pretty much most of the stuff you're doing today, probably you were told 10 years ago. But it wasn't until this changed somewhat along the way that you were able to stick to it a bit more, or make changes that were valuable to you, or make changes that you can do forever. Because again, along the way, you started learning, I can't run every day. I'm sorry. I don't care if it's Chicky Poo over there says that's the best way to lose weight. I ain't running every day. And so that's I'm not going to do that, but I'm going to do this instead. I'm going to go for walks. And that's what you learn as you're going through your journey. You're learning all these lessons that are adding on to and even for your own mental health journey, because the coping mechanisms you described today are perfect for almost any situation out there. If you're going somewhere and you're stressed out because you're driving through traffic and you're driving to a location, right? Sit down in that drive and say, I've driven before and I made it. Right? Any situation that you're in that's just causing you anxiety, one of the first things I do when I have those situations, I tell myself, I've been in this situation before, and the last time something similar. Last time it went okay for me, and it doesn't always work. I'm not saying it'll give rid of your anxiety and you're cured. No. I'm just saying for me, it's a tool that that has worked in some situations to reduce my anxiety, and I love that you shared that for yourself as well.
Yeah. Yeah, you need those strategies to figure
to cope with things.
And there's a meme I've posted a few times on Facebook. I don't know if anybody here has seen it, but it says, I have made it through, what is it? Something about I have survived 100% of my tough days. And that's pretty good. I've survived 100% of my tough days, and that's pretty good.
Exactly.
So if you're still here, you've always gotten through the tough day. You've always made it through.
And I think that's something we have to think about all the time. Like and it's hard as humans. Like I said, we said before, we're programmed to think of the worst case scenario. It's a defense mechanism as humans or as mammals. Like just look at all the animals in the wild, right? The first time you get close to a squirrel, what does it do? It runs because that's its instinct. So for us as humans, when we see something, our first instinct is, what's the worst case scenario out of this thing? Because I have to be prepared to have to run if something happens.
We tend to go to the worst. We never go to the best, right? So I do have a question for you. And I was wondering, since you've gone, this last 18 months, especially, but even previous, how has this journey impacted the people in your life? How has your journey impacted others?
Well, so this journey that I'm on now, I've actually been doing it with my older sister. So when she, just prior to this journey, I had a really, really bad, depression, and like it was really bad. And one night I was just beside myself. I didn't know what I was going to do, and I called her and I said, I think I need to check myself into the hospital. Like, this is really bad. I think I'm going to hurt myself. And she said, no, you're going to come and stay the night with me. And I did. I went and stayed the night with her, and she literally has saved my life. Like, she's my lifeline. I love her. And so
we love her too.
When I decided to do Weight Watchers, she says, I'm going to do it with you, and I'm going to be there to support you. And since we started doing this journey in November of 2020, we talk every Saturday morning at 8:00 by Zoom. We have when we joined, all the like Weight Watchers clinics and everything were closed, right? There was no in-person meeting. So we decided we were going to create our own little group, the two of us. And so we meet every Saturday morning at 8:00, and we chat for about an hour. We talk about our successes and things that aren't working.
So cool.
Whatever. And she has noticed, she says, you are a completely different person since you've started this journey. So it has really changed their outlook on me. Like they just see how much happier I am, how much more, she basically said, you seem like you have purpose now. And I do. I really feel like I wake up with purpose. And it's also helped my relationship with my son. We can talk more, and I'm not as depressed as often.
Right.
It's had just nothing but positive effects.
I love hearing that. And like I said, I love that you're part of this community, and that you add for the blogging and just sharing your journey, because you know what, it is tough to share like this. It's not easy. It's very vulnerable.
Again, because with someone who does have issues or struggles with mental illness, when they're opening up about themselves so much, it does bring in some of the PTSD in a sense, because you're talking about how you felt in the past and but the more you talk about certain things, the better it is for you. Because when you hold on to these feelings and you keep them bottled up, you're not really looking at them, and you're not looking at them through other people's lenses. When you're actually talking about it openly and having other people listen to you say it really, because people question you differently, and they'll start hearing things that you're saying and be questioning.
When you're in here constantly,
it's only your own
you're juggling the same scenarios over and over again. Someone else from the outside, you can see the exact same thing that you're juggling here, and they can come up and say, oh, what about this scenario?
And then you're like,
I didn't even think of that. No, and that's what happens when you talk about these situations. That's why sometimes having a friend or a community to help you through this journey that you're on, of your health journey, is so beneficial. And I think that's the thing that's probably helped you as having your sister, to have that person you can always connect with all the time to chat about this. Well, is helping you to get out of things a lot easier, because you have that person to talk to every week.
And Cindy in the chat said, we survived 100% of our toughest days. She's like, that will be my takeaway from tonight. That is a great one. That is a great.
Yeah. And it's not only just about talking. Like I'm happy to talk about my story. I'm very open. I always have been. It's really kind of weird, because when I was growing up, we always hid it, right? Like we hid my mom's illness. Like we always had to put on this happy face when we went out of our house.
Perfect family.
Inside the house, there was stuff happening that, was, it was tough. It was tough. But it's also just talking about like, I have depression. I talk to a therapist and I take medication, and that's totally okay. And I'm a stronger person for doing it. So there should be no negative connotations to that. I'm not a weak person because I talk to a therapist. I'm a strong person because I'm asking for help, and I'm not willing to just live with this illness for the rest of my life. You know, so just talking about mental illness in general. So it doesn't, because there's still people out there who feel like like they're stigmatized, like, you know, like, oh, you know, I really don't want to talk to somebody because like, that's going to make people think that I'm like crazy or nuts or whatever.
That's exactly what I was going to say, because back in the day, mental health issues automatically went to needs to be institutionalized.
Yeah.
Means if you have a mental health issue means you're crazy. And that's not what that means at all. When you have things going on in your mind, and a lot of times, and I'm no professional, no doctor, but there's chemicals. We have chemicals that are running through our bodies.
Yes.
And if you have one chemical too much, it throws you off kilter. And so when you do need to seek that professional help to get the guidance, please do. It's so important. Like knowing that there is differences between a life and wellness coach, a psychologist, a psychiatrist, a therapist. They're all different, and you use them for different reasons.
Yeah.
And so never be afraid or ashamed if someone suggests something different for you.
Absolutely not. There's no shame. There's absolutely no shame in it. And, you know, I wrote about I think it was my very first blog, I wrote about, you know, my mom. And I think like she wasn't diagnosed with her bipolar disorder until she was in her late 40s.
Oh, wow.
So she lived with, and generally the onset of that kind of an illness happens when you're in your late teens, early 20s. So she lived with this for so many years. And, you know, I just can't even imagine how, first of all, how horrible it must have felt for her to carry that with her all the time, but how different her life would have been if it wasn't a big stigma, you know, like
I have to think of me being gay back then. I was like, well, I could have not been with a woman. I'm sorry, ladies. I'm exclusively like men. I know as a kid, I used to tell myself I was going to be alone for the rest of my life. I couldn't envision myself marrying a woman because for me, it was not something I could do. Whereas
but imagine if you had been able to being able to accept who you were at a younger age. How much easier your life would have been.
It would have been a lot easier. Easier.
And it's so funny that you say that, because my mom, who is in her 80s, and talking about my grandmother who suffered from severe depression and suffered from severe anxiety and was not
there was no medication.
There was no help back then. And you could not talk about it, because if you did talk about it, you should not be around people, you know? So understanding that this is through generations, it's only now in the last maybe 15 years.
We're a product of these generations.
That we are finally evolving and saying, you know what, guys, we need to talk about this stuff, and we can't keep it bottled up, because all it's doing is when you bottle things up and you pack it all down, what happens? Eventually there's no more room, and it explodes. And it
is genetic, like depression and different mental illnesses can be genetic. I know my grandmother, my mom's mom, she was never diagnosed. Of course, we were sure she suffered. My mom had severe postpartum depression when she gave birth to my older sister. And the doctor just said, oh, you know, you just got the baby blues. And that was it, you know, kind of patted her on the head, sent her on her way. Needless to say, like, my mom got very depressed. The stories that I've been told is they actually had to take my sister away from her for a little while because they were worried that she might hurt her.
Wow.
You know, it was very serious back then, but like you said, nobody talked about it. It was just this taboo subject. And now it's just so important to be open about it and talk
and not
about
ashamed.
It. That's how we heal. That's how we get better. How we understand, right? How we learn and understand.
I like the fact that, you know, like that's why we share so openly. Like that's why I share mine, because I know I never saw myself anywhere in terms of even our weight loss journey. That's why we share these things, because it's like we're a certain kind of person that's, you know, that exists out there, that other people that are like us have gone through kind of similar situations in their weight loss journeys, their wellness journeys, their mental health journeys. And so by sharing ours, someone else out there saying, oh, wow, they went through it, but now look, they're happy, they're together, they're doing the best, they're living their best life.
Yes.
I know it's possible for me too. And that's
Yes.
one of the reasons why we share as much as we do, because we love to be able to, someone's out there looking at us, so I can lose 100 pounds too if they did it. Yep. And then they succeed. It's like, yes,
knowing that being vulnerable is not weakness. Being vulnerable is strength.
Not at all.
Vulnerability is power. It's so much power. It's so much strength. It's actually what allows you to feel. Yeah. Being vulnerable allows you to have feeling and allows you to say, I'm sad right now, and that's okay.
It's okay.
I'm happy right now, because you can be vulnerable and be extremely happy. You can be vulnerable and be ecstatic, enjoyed, and surprised and angry. That being vulnerable is not weak. And that's one thing that I want people to understand. Asking for help is not weakness. It's actually one of the most powerful thing you can do.
And just quickly, I just want to go back to one thing that you said, Jean-Luc, about, not talking about your feelings and things that have happened to you, and you push them down and push them down and push them down. And the result being, in my case, is being on the weight loss roller coaster for the last 20 plus years, because I ate my feelings, and I
still do sometimes.
Yeah, I do too. I'm a very emotional eater. But it helps to talk about it.
I think
it really does. And
I think that's why this group here, including yourself, it works together, because I think we all have that commonality yes. here. We all realize that this is forever. And so same for yourself. We both, but admit it, we still eat for our emotions. I'm not cured of that specific.
I'm not perfect either. No, not at all.
I don't.
But I do it a lot less.
Perfect.
Yes, that's it. A lot less,
yes.
And maybe not as long, and maybe not as large as I used to.
And I recognize it. Like I said, I'm kind of going through something right now, and over the course of a few days, I noticed I was really eating a lot of sugar and sweets, and I'm like, okay, something's going on. You got to figure it out. And then I kind of figured it out, but I need some help how to move forward with it. So now I've reached out to my therapist, and I'm going to get that help.
That's amazing.
And now that I've actually made the call and booked the appointment, and knowing that I'm going to talk to her, it's kind of settled me down, and I'm back. It was a great first week of P3, because now I'm back on track and, eating well.
Yeah. I'm glad that you're eating well. That's one of the things that we've noticed. We have a lot of energy right now.
Okay. I can't tell. I'm not going to lie. I've gone plant-based, and I'm being very vulnerable right now. Okay, people. Let's just say gas is an issue.
Yes, it is.
I'm not going to lie, but I am farting like there's no tomorrow. It's crazy. I will come out as a farter. I had to warn people. They're deadly right now, too.
I said that to my sister yesterday morning. I'm like, I've been trying some of this stuff, but oh my God, the gas.
And there's some days where I'm like, oh, man, they're good. You have no clue. But there's days I'm like, I don't know what I ate. But whoa, I'm so sorry. But and I'm by saying this, it's not something that we talk about a lot.
No.
Once again, they're so funny how in our society there are topics that become taboo, but yet
we all do it
that we need to talk about because they're important to talk about.
I was telling him yesterday. So one time we were doing step class. And during step class,
oh my God.
And during step class, we're doing back tests. He has to still breathe and still do class.
And I'm trying to breathe going, oh my God, you're killing me over
I was
here.
there. I was at that class.
Oh, there?
So we're talking about this scenario yesterday. Like, you know what the problem is? We've been working from home for 2 years. When you worked in an office, you'd be like, oh, I can hold it in. You're working away. I'll go to the bathroom. Walk. You learn to hold. I've been home for 2 years. I don't hold it in anywhere anymore. So now it's like I have to relearn that skill again.
I like how Gwen
Bino works.
But I'm just saying in this sense, in the fact that is when we are on these journeys and we are being open and talking about things, making sure that we realize too that how you approach someone who's being vulnerable, making sure you're going in with with kindness. Making sure that whatever you say to this person can really impact their next move or their next step. Yes. So always go in with with support and love, because that's what that person is wanting. I try never to go in and solve the issue, because guess what? I can't solve the issue for them.
Yes.
And I can't, but I can say, you know what? Thank you for letting me be a part of your story. And thank you for including me and making me feel, and I'm here to listen to you.
Yes. Just quickly. I know you guys are probably going to.
No, you're good.
I just want to say quickly, I love that. And sometimes somebody just wants somebody, they just want somebody to listen to them. So somebody
90%.
wants to just, talk it out, let them talk it out. If they were to say,
what do you
think? I really
think?
don't know what to do, or, can you help me figure out what should I do next? Or I'm just really confused or whatever. At that point, you could say, maybe you should talk with somebody about it.
Yes.
And, maybe it doesn't have to be a mental health professional at first. Like maybe it can be a friend, maybe just be your family doctor. Like maybe you don't need to go as far as a mental health, professional.
Yeah.
Maybe, so yeah, if somebody specifically, you can tell they were asking for help, or they're saying, I don't know what to do. That's the time when you can maybe kind of nudge them a little bit. But if somebody just wants to let it all out, just listen, let them talk.
And a lot of times too, as humans, we want to compare.
Or
we want to
fix.
say, oh, I've been there, I know this. And we start talking about our own stories, but that's not what that person needs at that
You just need someone to
moment.
listen.
They don't want to hear how you know what I mean? I know that sounds funny, but it's something that, again, we don't talk about a lot.
No.
But as humans, we want to help out. And we're thinking, oh, if I tell you my story, you'll think, oh, it's not as bad as you. You know what I mean? And
it's so funny that you should say that, because when I'm on Connect and people are putting stuff out there about, this is what I'm struggling with, or that's what I'm struggling with, and you read the comments and people are like, oh yeah, I get that. This happened to me and that's happened to me. I always try to not bring myself into it if I can, because trust me, I've been through all of it, but just try and maybe focus on what the person is asking for, and maybe try and just give them, some, not necessarily advice, but just kind of acknowledge their comments, fact that they've said it. And, if you think you might be able to add something that might be helpful, go ahead and do that. But yeah, it's tough, but it's hard. It's really hard not to do that, because you feel like you want to share to make people feel like, they're
normal.
Like you've been through it too, right?
Becoming a life coach it's basically learning how to ask questions, because we are taught that the people have the solution within themselves. We're just here to question what you're thinking, and by questioning what you're thinking, you'll come to the solution of what you want to do. We don't give you solutions. If you can ask us for, like once you figure out I want to do this, we can give you some tips on how you can
implement stuff.
But we're not going to tell you what to do. We're going to make you traverse and walk through this with us, so that you figure out what you really want to do. Because if I tell you to eat kale every day, and like me, you hate kale, you're not going to listen to me. So I need to let you tell me what you want to eat, and it's okay to eat that.
But if you sneak it in a vegetarian lasagna, he eats kale.
Yeah, I ate
had
kale
some
yesterday. Damn him. He's sneaking kale.
I
kale.
sneak it in.
Sneaking kale. So one last thing I want to ask you before we let you go is, tell us what you learned about yourself during this journey.
Oh my gosh. Well, one of the biggest things I've learned is how strong I am. Like, I never really thought that I was a strong person. And trust me, I've been through a lot in my life. Like, when I look back on it and I look at all the things I've had to kind of traverse in my life, like, I'm freaking amazing. Like, I'm a single mom, raising a teenage kid, just, paying my mortgage, working a full-time job, I'm working on all this stuff. And, despite the depression, despite the mental health issues, I just keep, pushing through. And yeah, there's a lot of down times, and there's times when it's super duper tough.
Mm-hmm.
But
you survived every single day, 100% of the time.
Yeah. But no, I think the biggest thing is just how strong I am, because I always thought there was something wrong with me. I was weak. Like, I was never good enough. I couldn't be good enough, that, I didn't look good enough. I didn't, all of that. And just knowing how strong I actually am, and that I can accomplish things. If I set my mind to doing it, I can do it. I mean, I just look at everything I'm doing now, and I think,
Hey, Tia. Tia, I have a secret to tell you. You are amazing.
And you are enough.
You are enough.
Go listen to Woody Woodburn's song called I Am Enough. It's amazing. It's on Apple Music. I am plugging Woody's song because basically we are all enough. If you really want to hear an amazing song,
we are all enough.
We're all enough.
I was on TikTok, and I don't know if you ever follow Elise Myers on TikTok. I don't know if you know who she is. Anyway, I'm
not on there much anymore.
No, I'm always on there. So.
I'm on Instagram.
Me too.
I get sucked in all the time. Anyways, Elise Myers, she's a pretty big creator, and I was flipping through today, and she's kind of looked at the screen, and she's like, you know what? You don't need to lose weight if you want that new outfit. You're fine. Like, go buy it.
Go buy the new outfit.
And you know that party that you want to go to a month from now and you think you have to lose 5 pounds? You don't have to lose 5 pounds. Just go to the party and have fun. Like, you don't have to. And I just love that. Like, you're good enough just the way you are.
And I think that's one of the things that we kind of realized in the last few years. Like, we were so obsessed with that number, but now we realize, eat well, be active, keep your mind positive as much as possible. Do the best you can every single day, and you are doing what you're supposed to do.
And obsession is obsession, either it being a high number or a low number. It's still an
either
obsession.
Either way,
right?
It's
so if you're happy in the moment,
that's all that matters.
That's what's most important, is trying to find the happiness in every single moment possible.
I want to thank you, Tia, for joining us on this Sunday chat.
Thank you welcome. So much, Tia. Guys, check out her blog on our website.
Jean-Luc and Nick.com.
Jean-Luc She writes a blog for us. She's awesome. Can't wait to spend more time and meet her in person more again. And thank you so much for sharing and being so vulnerable and being so willing to talk about, mental health and how it's affected you throughout your journey.
Very welcome. I loved it. Thanks.
Thanks
for the opportunity.
Always.
Thank you. Awesome. So that's another show, John. We have 2 more left.
Wow, that's
2 left until our summer break. But again, the Zoom room will still be here. So again, reminder, we are taking a summer break from our shows.
They will no longer be live on YouTube.
They won't be live on YouTube, but the Zoom room will still be active. So if you want to come in and chat with Rosie and Kim and just be like, hey girls, how you doing?
We might even pop in from
We
Sundays.
might pop in as well. So Sundays. We're just trying to give ourselves a little bit more freedom on our weekends for the summer because we're going to be very busy. So we realize
there's a lot of travel.
There's a lot of travel happening. We might be in a city near you.
Hint, hint, hint,
hint, hint, hint, hint. Nudge, nudge.
Nudge, nudge.
Tap, tap.
Windsor and Sudbury are a given because we have to go see our moms. Those are a given. And it's because we want to see them too. Don't get me wrong. It's like I didn't make it. I didn't want to. Well, my mom at least.
Hey.
I love you, Mom. Mom number 2. I hope you guys all have a great night. We have 2 more guests coming up. Next week, we have Dr. George and Vanessa Nam.
They are life coaches for couples.
Yes. And she is a WW member who's
lost over 100 pounds.
Lost over 100 pounds on WW. And then our very last guest of the season, or of the summer, I guess, pre-summer, is our lovely Terry Lynn. T, for some of you who know her as T or Terry, May 29th.
Dancing Willow.
Dancing Willow.
No, Dance and Willow.
Oh yes, Mothers of Dancing Willow. Dog caregiver extraordinaire. She was recognized for all the puppies that she's fostered, and when you see her transformation as well, you'll be
insane.
Especially those of you who know
her,
like mini T, like she's a petite little lady, and to think that what she's gone through and what as far as
her journey,
her complete journey, her knee surgeries, everything she's experienced, it'll be a really, really great show to speak with her.
So we want to thank everybody for joining us, and again, thank you for supporting us, and we will be still around all summer, so you won't really lose us. It's just on Sundays we won't be here at 7 all the time. That's basically what we're saying, is that we're going to be busy sometimes, so we might not be here, but we'll pop in when we can. So again, thank you so much.
Sunday, everybody.
Bye.
Love you. Have a great week. You are enough.
Yes.